record. All right. Okay, here we go. Thanks for doing this, by the way.
Oh my God, thanks for having me.
Okay, here we go. Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of I Love This Country. I'm your host, Brandon Stansell, and this week I'm so proud and pleased to introduce my friend Fancy as our guest. Today, Fancy is a friend of mine, hailing from small town Arkansas. He ventured out to Nashville once he graduated, and then out to LA and right back to Nashville. And it's been a long time coming, but he's right a week out from putting out his first full-length album. I am so happy to have you as my guest. Fancy, welcome to the show.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me.
Yeah. So it's a big run-up week for you. I know that this has been a long time coming, and you've been teasing us with singles every couple of months. And I have to say that every time you would release something, I would listen to it, and I rarely feel like this, but it just feels like everything's so aligned. Your voice and your lyrics and your and just your story. I just feel like it's 100% you, and no one else has done it, and no one else could do it. And it just brings me so much joy, the music that you're putting out. And I'm just so proud of you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, sorry, I'm like losing my voice. It has been a long time coming. I moved to LA with my first record deal back in 2013 and 2014. Before that, I was signed to different publishing companies here in Nashville. And all of those years, in the back of my head, I just knew this is my year. This is the year I get to put music out. This is the year, my dreams come to fruition. And, a lot of stuff has happened in my career, but ultimately it's never panned out to be, fulfilling, honestly. And it just does feel like everything has aligned in this current moment. I had to go through a lot of hard shit to figure out what it is I truly wanted, not only as a person, but as an artist, as a songwriter, and finding the space to just be able to be myself and create with people who wanted that for me as well. And also having the room to create however I wanted to create. There wasn't any A&R on this record. There wasn't any label in this record. I didn't even have management when I was making this record. So it was truly just me and the people I was collaborating with, speaking into how this record was being made and how it was sounding. And I think that's kind of what happens, when you get rid of those voices in your head that tell you how to create or what you should be doing or how you should be doing it. You get to finally express yourself without any sort of like obstacles or anyone else outside opinion. So I feel remarkably blessed to be in this space and in this moment to create something that, hopefully does resonate with people. Is my first go around in this industry, the question was, who is Fancy? And I hope that this album is a complete front to back letter answering that question.
It's unbelievable. I mean, there's no doubt when I listen to your record, we know who you are. We know who you are now. I mean, and that's incredible. And I was thinking about it this morning as I was walking the dog. I thought to myself that you are doing something that is brand new in a kind of a space that is all yours. This Southern country rock vibe that I love. But you're singing about things that as a queer person that no one's ever done before. And it's just so honest, and it's so beautiful, and it's so fun to listen to, whether you're queer or not. Like it's great music, but it's, from a listener's perspective, someone like me, it's just really fun and exciting to watch you take this path. Because like I said, I just, everything from, the lyrics to your voice to just the whole package of it, just, it feels so right. And so I'm so excited to hear the full record when it comes out next week. But you've been putting out a few songs here and there over the past few months. Don't Blink was the first one that jumped out at me. Tell me about that song. Where'd that come from?
I was on a writing trip. I had just signed to my current publishing company, and at the top of that deal, they're like, what is it that you want? I'm in the space of coming back to Nashville from LA. I'd taken a year off basically and traveled with a lot of my friends who go on the road and perform, and just kind of getting a front row seat at what makes their careers work and what makes their careers tick. And I realized that um, all of them were just who they were on stage is exactly who they are off stage, and the songs they're performing, knowing them as my friends, I know that it's the truth, it's the real deal. These people are, they're not creating something for the sake of it being sounding popular on radio, or it being this like earworm. It's like they're writing stuff that means something to them. And I got caught in this game in LA of like just writing, chasing radio, chasing what people might think is successful, or this song's a hit right now, we need of your version of this. And it's like, I don't want to do my version of anyone. I want to
Yeah.
do my version of me. And so when I finally had the space to just kind of be creating without anyone in my ear, my publisher sent me to London, and I was supposed to be there for a week. And the next thing you know, I was there for 2 weeks. Next thing you know, I was there for 3 weeks. Then I was there for 4 weeks, and I was there for 5 weeks. And I just wasn't leaving. I was just getting in all these rooms. And I just felt, for the first time since losing my first record deal, like I was in this really open, creative space, and I felt so safe. Because a big conversation around me has always been genre. When I lived in LA and I was putting out music there, everyone there is like, there's a twang in your voice, you're too country, you're a Nashville songwriter. And then, here in Nashville, it's always been, my sexuality kind of confuses people. So it's like, you can't be gay and a country star, so you're pop, you have to be pop. Um, and I'm just kind of like, in London, it was just so nice because I don't really feel like genre is all that much of a conversation there. And it was just kind of nice to exist somewhere where people weren't looking at me like I was too much this or too much that. And honestly, I was in a room with a guy I met out there called Shaq. I met him through a producer called Naughty Boy. And Shaq was like, dude, I really want to write a country song. And I was like, I don't know what that is to you. And he pulled up this track that he had made, and it literally is just a guitar loop. And it actually had like this like random kind of beat behind it, and he called the track "Country Girls." And it honestly was just that, you know what I mean, like that
Yeah.
opening to I just did Southern Curiosity. It's that that opens "Don't Blink," and that honestly just moves me. Like, and I wasn't sitting there thinking like, oh, I do want to write this country song. I literally just started singing. And Don't Blink was written in probably about 30 minutes, because it just moved me. And I was sitting in his like producer chair, and I just started singing over it. And he was like, oh my gosh, we got to record this down. And we didn't know what it was. I didn't know I was making an album in that moment. But it was just the first song that started making me feel like, oh, I do have a thing happening here. There is magic around this. And the more people that heard the song in its demo form started taking me a bit more seriously. And next thing you know, we were supposed to record like an EP. And the next thing you know, I'm like recording 19 songs for a full length album. So
Yeah.
Don't Blink
Well,
was honestly just what started it all.
well, you found magic in this song. We're going to let everybody take a listen. This is Don't Blink. Pause. And we come back. Okay, I'm back with my friend Fancy. We are listening to a bunch of his new music because his first full-length album comes out next Friday, April 9th. You can pre-save it on his website. It's fancyhagood.com. That's HAGOOD.com. You want to do that because this music is incredible and everything that's come off of the record so far is amazing. And the album is sure to follow suit. We are talking about his path to get here, which has been a long one and a long-awaited one from all of his friends, including myself. So I'm so excited to have you as my guest. We were talking about genre and country music and not fitting the mold, and I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm working on my next record, which the first single comes out in into May, and people that have been listening to it so far, say, well, it has this pop feel, melodies, but you have this twang, and I don't know what you're trying to do. And I was like, you know what? I'm just doing what I want. I'm doing me. I've always said since I started making music that I just want to put out things that I'm proud of and I think people want to listen to, including myself. So I feel like you're kind of in that same boat where people were trying to push us in a certain direction, and at the end of the day, I just want to make stuff I'm proud of and that is representative of myself. But I feel like that's exactly what you're doing, and I'm so excited. So you've got this whole album coming out. Tell me, what song are you most excited for people to hear?
Oh man, that's difficult.
It's tough, huh?
It's nice because the half the record's basically out. We've been releasing singles since last July. So of the remaining songs, I want everyone to hear all of them very badly. This is my first full body of work, but I think there's a song on the record called Either, that just talks about, it's kind of more of a singer-songwriter vibe, but it just talks about my high school experience. And in a time where a lot of people are getting to explore what love looks like and be able to like profess that for the first time. And you know I think as gay people, that's something that we don't often, or back when I was growing up, I don't know about you, but it's not something that I got to explore. I had to hide behind um this shield of religion, and like, oh well, I'm just you know on my own. Like, I had crushes on boys and I had feelings for guys, and I think there was several occasions where it was probably mutual, but we were both always so scared to say it. And Either kind of tells that story. The whole hook is, you said you weren't, so I wasn't either. And
Oh, yeah.
it's just talking about having those feelings, having those moments, and then it being wrapped in shame and having to hide who you truly are and how you truly feel. And that's, the older I get and the more I I'm in therapy and trying to figure out my shit, the more I realize so much of my shame and so much of what still holds me back um, today is stuff that happened to me in junior high and high school, and feelings I wasn't allowed to express. And um, so it's just kind of like telling that story. And I think it's an important song because I think first and foremost, this record was written for people like you and me. It was written for the queer community and for people to be able to identify with someone without having to reach. I'm very specific about what I'm singing about. I'm not being ambiguous at all. If I'm singing about a boy, it. I use the pronouns, and that's been such a uphill battle for me in this career path. But as much as this record was written for you and I and our community, this record was written for the other side as well, for hopefully to get a glimpse of how it truly feels to have to hide yourself, how it truly feels to be in love and to have these feelings and not be able to express it. Um, I'm hoping that this is a bridge, to people that don't understand our stories,
Yeah.
and hopefully give them an inside view of what it's like to be queer and what it's like to be different, because it's not that different. We all
Yeah.
feel the same. We all love the same. We all have our heart broken. It's just kind of like these things happen to all of us, and it's relatable whether you're gay, straight, bi, whatever. It's just one of those things. I'm just hoping this record, and Either as a song, can just kind of be a bridge to some form of unity, to some form of people understanding, stepping into shoes that they don't walk in.
Yeah. I mean, I obviously very much relate to you and relate to your story. We both grew up, in kind of a religious environment in the South, and it's taken a long time to get out of that. And music has been this great therapeutic thing for me, to be able to write about those experiences and share my point of view, because I was always made to feel like they didn't happen, or they weren't as bad as maybe I had thought they were, or I just need to get over it and grow up and just magically be better. And But music has been this great vehicle for healing for me, and I can hear it in you. You do something so different than I've ever done, and I'm so I'm just so in love with it. I'll tell you the song that really got me is your song "Good Man." And I heard you do it live on Instagram, just a piece of it before the record came out. And when I listened to it, this is always my like thing that I'm like, that's a great song. But if my natural inclination is, man, I wish I had written that song. And that's how I felt when I heard that, because it really is so beautiful and such a universal feeling, but never told from that perspective. Like, I think everyone wishes that they could have that, that happens, right? That they meet someone and that they can tell their parents, I found a good one,
Yeah.
and he's good to me, and we're good to each other and good for each other. And then that's a beautiful thing, but you never hear that coming from the mouth of a man about a man, or a woman to a woman. So, I mean, but you penned it so well. And I want everyone to take a listen to this song. This is called "Good Man." Pause. We coming back. So that was "Good Man" by my friend Fancy off of his new record, Southern Curiosity, out next Friday. So happy to have you here. So
thanks for having me.
Tell me about Southern Curiosity. It's the last single that came out. It's the title of the record. It is so fun and so autobiographical and just so relatable. Tell me about this song.
I wrote Southern Curiosity. It started with, I had two songs, one that I had written in London and one that I had written with my producers here in Nashville. And there were two different songs. One was called Curiosity Cola, and I wrote it with some friends in London about this drink I found in London. I jokingly said, I feel like all my ex-boyfriends, this is their drink. They're also curious. They're also closeted. They're also curious. And so we wrote this song about it. It was called Curiosity Cola. And then I also wrote a song called Southern Sound. And I liked both of them as like a working title. And so I was kind of going into rooms trying to explain the record I was wanting to write and what I was working on with people with these two working titles. And one day I was writing, and a co-writer who actually didn't end up getting any songs on the record, but he ended up mixing my record, was kind of like, why don't you just mix it? Why don't you just call it Southern Curiosity? And when he said it, I was just like, oh my God, that's my album title.
Yeah.
And I'm not even kidding you. I was going to like my friend's house to write one day, and that night I had a dream, and I literally woke up in the middle of the night from a dream with that melody, and I swear to God it came from the dream. Kind of the whole chorus type. I didn't have all the lyrics fleshed out, but I knew that was. So I walked into my writing session with two of my best friends, John and Jacob. They're in a band here in Nashville called the Brummies, with that kind of like, and it just felt like Sweet Home Alabama to me. And that's where I grew up in Arkansas, but all of my family's from Alabama. Both Jacob and John, who I didn't meet until I was probably in my early 20s, but their whole family's from where my family's from. And like, it's weird, like there's like random family members from all that all know each other. So I feel like our friendship is just kismet, and it's all rooted in this like Southern situation. And so we were like trying to write a song, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is Southern Curiosity. We need to write that. Yeah. And it all just kind of came out. Again, it was a situation where the song almost wrote itself. It was just so fast. And I was so excited leaving that studio that day, because I was like, I knew it was different, it's a little bit more Southern rock. But when I started thinking about all the songs individually on this album, none of them really fit in the same thing. They're all a little bit their own world, their own story, but that's just a representation of who I am. I'm not one thing. I'm so many different things. And I think most artists can probably relate to that. I don't like anyone telling me I need to choose one lane and go down it. I'm going to go down whichever lane, whichever avenue I see fit. And this was a moment of like, I am from the South. I am queer as fuck, and I want to write about it. And so the song was just kind of born from this place of like, I wanted to tell the story of where I come from and how I grew up, but how I turned out and how proud I am of that.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of my gay boy Southern anthem.
It's incredible. I love how obviously it's just so unapologetic, but not in a way that's like, you're not like giving people the finger saying like, this is me. I mean, you're just a great person. And it's this song just encapsulates this, it feels like freedom. It just feels like, again, I'm going to use this word again, it just feels so aligned. It's just like we have taken a long road to get to where we are, and once you finally get there, and once you can finally articulate that, what you've done in this song, it's kind of an incredible thing. I always tell people, when I came out, it took a long time to get over all of those experiences. But once you do, I mean, there's such freedom in that, because you've had to kind of do all of this self work at such an early age that you really are able to kind of define, who you are. I think a lot better than maybe a lot of our straight counterparts, because we've had to do a lot of early soul searching and like self discovery and that sort of stuff. And
Man,
oh, go
since I
ahead.
was 21, people have always been like, "Oh, you just know who you are. You just know who you are." And the older I get, the more I realize that's not true. That's, especially looking back at me when I was like 21, or even like when, we probably met back when I was like 24, 25, when I lived in LA. And all of those moments of me, definitely that's who I was then. But it was always searching, right? And I was always trying to figure out which part of me is more digestible for people, like, or the whole other side of it, going full tilt and just being like, middle fingers up, I don't give a fuck, this is who I am, take it or leave it, I'm outrageous, I'm crazy, I'm androgynous, I was always searching. I think people get confused with being able to own your sexuality and not be afraid of that part of you, with um being able to identify who you are or what your purpose is. And I think I've always known I want to be in music. I want this. This is my passion. I want to make this my life. But I have always been searching about who I am. And I feel like this record, as a whole, specifically with Southern Curiosity, the song, the first time where I do not feel the need to explain myself outside of my music. I will let my music speak for me. This is who I am. This is where I come from. And if you don't get it, you're never going to get it. You know what I mean? And that my need for people to understand me or see me is just kind of gone. And I feel like with that leaving me, it creates this wide open space for me to create freely. And I became Fancy in the first place to be free, to be myself, to live a life that I feel good about, to make the rules up as I go. I don't want people telling me how to be me, and I don't think anyone wants that. And for the first time, I feel like as a creator, I'm living in a space where I get to say what I want to say. I get to say how I feel. And it's a beautiful thing, because I used to have to over explain myself every single day. Every A&R meeting I sat in,
Sure.
every management meeting I sat in, I had to sit there and explain myself. This is why I want to sing this. This is why I want to say this. This is why this is important. This is why it makes me feel good. And constantly it was just met with, a brick wall. And I finally feel like I'm in the space of like, I'm done explaining myself. My music speaks for me. My music tells my story. And I get to be me, whatever that is that day. You know what I mean? And my music gets to speak my truth for
And
me.
you
And
and
that's
you've done
just,
yeah.
not having to answer.
And you've done it so beautifully, and we're going to let everyone take a listen. This is the title track of his upcoming full-length record. This is Southern Curiosity. And then we'll come back, and this will be the end. And we are back with my friend Fancy. His record comes out next Friday, April 9th. You can pre-save it on his website. That's fancyhagood.com, HAGOOD.com. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for coming on and spending some time with us. It's so good to have you, and I'm so proud of the work that you've done and the music you're about to put out into the world.
I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me. It's an awesome moment in time to be openly gay, to be queer, to be making music, and we're all in this together. So it's really nice to be here.
Yeah. Yes, we are. Well, thank you again. And thank you guys for joining us and spending some time with us today. This is Brandon Stansell. This is I Love This Country. We will see you next week. That's it.
Yeah, you're so good at this.
Oh no, it was so fun. So we're doing this as kind of like a test run for an actual Spotify little like a weekly show with them. They just needed like a proof of concept, and they were like, "We just need to know you can talk." I was like,
You're like, okay, just give me a second.
Yeah, just give me a minute.
Yeah, I'm like, give me a gin martini in 10 minutes and you'll know I can talk.
I know, right? God. But seriously though, I'm so proud of you. The stuff
Thank
is
you.
just
That means
so
a lot
good.
to me.
So proud.
Thank you so much.
I was thinking too while you
that.
were while you said that last little piece, like, because I'm this idea of like, who are you? Who are you? I remember, when I was 22 and I came out, like that was the question. Like people would ask me, they'd be like, well, I don't know you anymore. Who are you? Who are you? And then like, I just remember all this pressure being put on me to like have to define myself at 22. I'm like,
yeah,
who does that? Like, no one has to do that. But yet, as
100%.
A queer person, you're like, oh well, I guess I need to know exactly who I am at 22, which is
more
insane.
so.
Okay.
More so than what they're asking. They're not asking who are you. What they're saying in like a ambiguous kind of rude way is, I don't understand you.
Yeah.
And if I don't understand you, then the majority of people won't. And I'm like, that's just not true. Brandon, I'm putting out music for the first time that I feel like fully represents me, and people, it's working. For the first time in my career, I feel like I'm seeing a connect. I'm seeing people, the messages I'm getting, I'm like, there is a place for this. There's a place for us.
I'm glad you feel that way, because honestly, what this record is to you, I feel like is what my next record is for me. Like it's my best work I've done. I'm so excited about it. And I just feel like so connected. But this one for you, everything you put out so far, it makes me smile, because I feel like you've landed. Like it just feels that way, and it's so exciting. But anyway, so we'll this will go up on Thursday, and then I have a little graphic, and I just used your record cover as the image, if that's okay.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great.
I'll shoot it to you, and that way you have it. And
amazing.
Yeah, it'll go up on Thursday.
Well, thank you so much for having me. This has been awesome.
Thanks for doing this.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Oh my God, of course.
See you too. We'll talk soon.
Yay. Take care, dude.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.